Hey team, welcome to Inside the Movie Photographer with Jasin Boland. Today we have episode 2 with Justin Lubin, the photographer of all things horror and gore. Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, The Nun, Annabelle, Get Down, just all the films that I can't see. For all of you horror fans out there, this is a must-see. Justin lives and breathes this genre, and you're never going to learn any more about photographing on these sets than from him. So we're going to hook straight into Get Down.
Oh, God. I'm never going to sleep. So I'm glad it's only like nearly 4 o'clock in the afternoon here, so I've still got a few hours to calm down. So, okay, JL.
This is from Get Out. This was...
Oh, yeah.
This, it's funny because when we were making the movie, you don't know... You obviously sometimes don't know what a movie is going to do. Like when you worked on The Matrix, I'm sure you knew it was going to be cool, but you didn't know it would change the way action movies were done.
No.
And with this movie, this changed cinema as far as with African American filmmakers and horror films, and you could be smart and have a message. It wasn't just about slaughtering and body count.
Yeah.
And to be a part of this, and because when you're shooting it, you're like, okay, I can see it's kind of, it's different, it's cool. But when you see it with an audience and you see it put together finally, then you go, okay, that's great. And, this is this whole scene, is pretty memorable where he's tied to the chair and he realizes how to save himself from hypnosis. And, I just figured this is the kind of shot that screamed wide angle, all this negative space around him and just him front and center in the middle. Very, very, very Kubrick of me.
Yeah, 100%. No, I mean, I do love that about this, that it's symmetrical, but then he's looking off out of frame and it's making the audience sit there and feel, okay, what's going on and what's about to come into frame or jump into frame, so to speak. And, an image that invokes that sort of passion and thought pattern into your mind is to me always a great image. And there's so much going on. I can see what's going on straight in front of me, but I'm also trying to imagine the rest of the story. So it's amazing. It's fantastic how you bring that thought in for the audience. It's a pretty awesome shot. Oh my gosh. Oh, I got to look up. Oh, wow.
Now this photo, we always say that every photo has a story. Now this photo, this photo should not exist. And I
really?
This, yes. And here's the story. It's real quick. I'll try not to take too much longer with it.
Oh, you can have as much time as you want, JL. Everyone's loving this. I know.
So here's the story with this. This movie was so low budget that this day was scheduled as a VFX day, and it was on the last day of production. So in order to save money, the producers were like, we're going to send you home early because it's just a VFX day. We don't need you there. And I'm like, but it's the whole, the sunken place in the movie is the whole thing. It's where he goes and we should have that. And they're like, no, we need you to go. We're going to change your flight. So they did. And I was like, okay, whatever. But on my way to the airport, because when I called, to check on my flight, it was raining. It was pouring in Alabama where we were shooting this movie. And my flight was delayed. So I decided that most everything was packed except for one body and one lens. So I just drove to where they were shooting. Mind you, I was not paid to be there. But I drove there anyway because I'm like, I got to get something. I got to get this because this is the movie. And sure enough, I get there and, I shoot him from all different angles falling. And I get back to, I shoot him and, everybody's, Jordan Peele's like, oh, this is great. Thanks for coming down. And, it was a really nice moment. And get back to LA and I show this picture. I make a print of this and I show this picture to the guy who's in charge of marketing this movie. And I told him that exact same story. And he was so happy. And what ends up happening is this picture is now used for everything.
Wow.
It was used all over LA as the For Your Consideration campaign about how important this movie was. And Jordan Peele even talks about this as being one of his favorite moments in the movie. And to be able to have this, this was on the side of a building, this picture, and
oh, that'd look awesome on the side of a building. Oh my gosh.
It was great. It was like, I remember driving down Highland Boulevard off the 101 and seeing it. And it was just like, I was like, oh my God, I literally, I waited for the red light, like, which you never do in LA, but you waited for the red light. I got out of the car with my phone. I was like, I took a cell phone picture, but then I went back later with my good camera, took some nice ones because I was like, this is really cool. And it was everywhere on bus benches and ad campaigns, full spreads in the newspaper. It was like the shot, and it's like, and it shouldn't exist. But but that's the other thing too. It's like most people would be like, I want to get paid for that day, and I'm like, just take it. Just go and do it. If you feel that it's important, you make it up. So
yeah, I love the love that you have for this industry, and it just blows me away that the successful ones seem to be the ones that have so much passion and other team players and talking about VFX days, I can't tell you how many posters I've had from days that many other photographers would walk away from, and it's a big deal. Oh golly.
This was from Annabelle Creation, and this was a shot that was done out of necessity because it was a big dolly move on a remote head. So the operator was sitting against this wall, and the dolly was a giant, Chapman dolly. So there's no room for anybody. And it's dollying around to get her on the other side. And I'm like, well, how am I going to get a shot in here? And then I look in the mirror and I go, oh, there's my shot.
Oh, so this is in the mirror. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's a reflection, and that's get the crosses in the wall, and to get her with the mask on in bed because she's disfigured under the mask, and and the camera's dollying around this way, and I'm getting that one moment before the dolly comes into the mirror because they're not seeing that.
No, exactly right.
So
yeah, well, that's I see. I'm loving these talks because I get to get inside, my friends as photographers, get inside your heads and to see what makes you tick. And it's, I just walk out with this whole completely new respect. And it's also, I keep talking about reassurance, and it's also reassuring for me too, because some of the things that we all do, or that, the passion inside that we have for the craft, reassures me that I'm kind of on the right path as well, because it seems to be a common theme of that we don't treat it like a job at all. It's really just a love.
No, I can't. When it starts becoming a job, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it may sound cliche or crass, but it's like we love what we do. We're fortunate to get to do what we do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change it for anything. But like another thing is like the joy of discovering the shot. It's like not every time the shot is by the camera. It's and to see the set, like it's weird, but like when you walk in sometimes when they're lighting it, it's when I go away, because it's never going to be whatever they rehearse may not be what they finally do. Yeah. Because halfway through they're like, oh no, we're going to change this. So the shot that you may have lined up in your head is never that shot. So I always wait until rehearsals are actually up. And then I go in and kind of see like what's going on. And I ask the dolly grip, what are you doing? And so I'm going here, and we're going to see this, and you can't be there because of reflections. And I need every inch of the dolly track, or every inch of the dance floor. And you just kind of and you problem solve. And you say like, what's going to help here? And this is one of those shots where you're like, all right, like problem solved. You figure it out.
Yeah, you got to be aware. You got to. It's not even a matter of finding it. It's just sort of like seeing it and knowing where it's at. And it's that's such a cool shot. Oh my gosh! And then it's and then you show the director or someone else later, and they're like, oh God, I wish I had done that angle. I love a good behind the scenes shot. To me, they are my landscapes on a film set, and this one with all that movement going on, that is a wicked pan.
Oh yeah, no, that was a fun one. And then and again, it's like I intensely tried to slow the shutter down to give it a little more movement. because to shoot the actual take of this was worthless.
Yeah,
there's nowhere to be, and you're just going to get in the way. And this ended up being such a better shot because you see the process, and this is to me one of my favorite shots. And
there's such an appetite for behind the scenes shots now. I mean, it's really something that the still photographers coming into their own. Obviously, you can't. You don't spend the whole day doing BTS because it's got to be something that
tells a story.
Tells a story, and then you want to have a look around, and like I'm looking at the truck over there and the boomy and the girl. It's there's so much to look at in a great BTS, and yeah, this is a wicked shot. What film was this from?
That's from Annabelle Creation.
Oh right, okay, cool.
The shot here is basically that shot was just basically the hands and her face, because that's all you see is like this.
Yeah,
it's just concentrated on her face.
Yeah, right. Ouija. Oh my god.
Again, like this was just a still that they took and made it into something even more sinister.
I think you've told me the story to this before, because that is actual makeup, right? It's not done in post.
They did a thing with her mouth stretching, and they did a whole appliance, but I don't think they ever used it in the movie, but they used it for the key art. So you just gotta shoot it.
That's a great shot. I bet you that's not on your kid's wall at night though.
No, one is though, and they just walk right past it.
Oh really?
I have all my horror films in like the living room, and they're like, "Do I have to look at Annabelle again?"
Our house is like that. Thankfully, I'm not horror, but nearly every wall is covered from movie posters, and I know it seems a bit weird, but it's kind of comforting being surrounded by your own work. And sometimes I'll swap them out and move them around, but it keeps you alive inside for why we love what we do, I think.
Well, again, it's like, when I was a kid, I would put posters up on my wall of things that I thought were cool. And, now I have this thing in my house, which is like most posters, if not all movie posters, only go up if they're my photos. Like, even if it's a movie I worked on, like, unless it's, because sometimes movies don't always do photos for posters. Sometimes it's just scary font. Yeah. But I've been fortunate that most everything has a photo I've taken, and therefore I want to hang it and be reminded, like, I did that. I want my kids to go, you did that.
I'm with you. I like to, I only pretty much hang my own work. I've been given some really nice photographs from guys like Tim Page, a Vietnam War photographer, and that, and I have them hanging. And a dear friend of mine, Andrew Follows, who was a blind photographer who sadly passed away from cancer earlier in the year. I have one of his shots, but generally, I pretty much hang my own, and I totally get what you're saying with the comfort there. I love looking at other people's work. There's no denying that. And this is one of the reasons why I'm enjoying doing this so much. It's like I get to really discover your work. It's a great angle, man. It's like this is people don't realize how hard it is to get these shots.
Well, this was actually this was even before I had my first mirrorless camera. This was still like in a blimp, and the blimp was on the ground, and I was on this floor that was so disgusting. Like, we were in a house in Santa Clarita, in this old abandoned house that probably had all sorts of disgusting bugs and stuff. And this was, it just added to the set because it was disgusting. But I had to literally get on the ground. I couldn't see what I was shooting. I just kind of hoped for the best because I didn't have mirrorless. So I didn't have a live view. And, being in a blimp, you're just kind of guessing. And, sure enough, there you go. And it's a great shot because the whole point of the shot is she's looking for this whistle,
right?
And she finds it.
Yeah, great stuff. And not easy getting the focus right on that either. It's because you're not on the ground looking at it.
It's guessing. It's guessing, especially since you're in a blimp, because there is dialogue going on and you just can't wing it.
Do you tweak it a little bit when I'm in those situations? I'll just move it around a little bit to. Well, I listen. Or did you actually find the frame?
No, I can hear, like, I have like sonar, so I can hear the focus button beeping in the blimp. So if I'm really close to the blimp, which is what I was, I can kind of hear, like, if it's not catching. I hear beep, and they go click, 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 and move it around again, and like, you know, because your arm gets really tired, so you can't just hold it in the same position.
No,
and
exactly.
after a take or two, you're like, okay, I'm getting up now.
No, but it's amazing that it found the focus. Like, incredible. Oh, here's your Get Out poster. Was that from the same? That's the same scene, right?
That's the same scene. Yeah, just him, you know, screaming. Instead of looking to the right, he's looking straight ahead and looking straight up, and you know. But they took. What I love is that, like, this was a foreign poster,
right.
And I feel sometimes the foreign marketing teams just go all out. They tend to, you know. But this was one of my favorites, you know, because again, the whole black and white, and you know, the whole point of the film, they really got it right, and it works because it's, you know, terrifying.
Oh, it is. You know, there's two things that hit me here is, like, you know, him scratching away at the seat, but the best part that stands out for me is actually that little bit of movement in his head that, you know, that to me really adds to the urgency of, you know, he wants to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, no, he really was full on in this scene, and I mean, like, when every take was over, you just saw the exhaustion.
Yeah, wow.
And he's giving it everything, and you know, on the set, you're like, oh my god, you just want to stand back and just, you know, admire that.
There's nothing better than watching a performance. You know, people don't, you know, they see the movie, but they don't have the privilege that we get of sitting there and watching 2 or 3 takes of an incredible artist deliver their craft. And you know, sometimes I'll just put the camera down and I'll watch.
I did that with the Russell Crowe movie, where he was just in it. And halfway through the scene, you go, I've got the take, like, I've got this shot, but now I'm just going to watch him, like, rock and roll. And you're like in awe of it. You're like, wow, this is what knowing your job in acting really is. It's like, there's no fumbling. He never messed up. He always was ready to go. And just watching that was pretty impressive.
Oh no, absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful image.
What's funny about that shot is that, like, this is from a movie I did called Lying and Stealing, and I think that's Emily Ratajkowski.
Oh yeah. The
she was
I know.
Blurred. Yes. Well, this funny is that, like, this, again, trying to make something that doesn't exist into something that should exist, which is this shot was just her walking into a bathroom.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't walk into a bathroom. So, you know, you're like she looks it looks like a perfume ad, you know. It's just like, you know, just turning the corner and everything was like perfect. And I was like, wow, that doesn't look like she's just walking in to look at the mirror, which is what the shot was. But it's like, you know, you turned it into something that, like, you go, oh, maybe I want to see this movie.
Yeah, she's all class. She really has a look. Oh, I love this. I love these frames. I love the little Dutch tilt in this as well. And, you know, that's tricky with that light, just, you know, pretty much lit from that one candle, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we had a couple of China balls up there, but, you know, she was pretty much lit by 1 foot candle. You know. That's
just insane. How long ago was this? Because the noise in the background is really nice. It's quite pretty.
Yeah, I think, God, this was a couple of years ago, The Nun. I feel like it was a couple of years ago.
I keep looking up because I've got a big screen behind me, so I'm a bit fortunate to be able to dive deeper into these images. But I mean, the emotion on her again, you know, it's you know, you don't get these during setups. You know, it's the director's performance that makes these images so special.
No, it's very rare. Like I said, like, there's sometimes on horror films where you just can't be somewhere and you pick and choose your moment to ask for a setup. You know, if it's an important shot or you think it could be cool and scary, but, you know, you always want to try and get it in the moment because, like, the terror on her face is genuine. You know.
Oh yeah, it certainly is. Oh God, the terror on that face. It's on my face now.
Well, what's cool about this is that I've seen so many people post that as a tattoo on their leg.
I've seen that, yes.
And I'm friends with the actress who plays her. Name is Bonnie Aarons, And she always sends me, like, people send her pictures of the tattoo, and she loves this picture. She thinks it's one of her favorite pictures. And, this was just something we did on set where I asked for some pullaways. Like, I was like, she's not in the scene. She's all made up. Let's go over here and shoot some stuff. Like,
Was this used for key art as well?
I don't know. I don't think they used this for key art, but this is definitely like, this is still one of my most favorite terrifying photos. And, it says everything it needs to say.
My son was on a hockey camp, and the Nun first came out, and he was only like 10 or something, and all the kids were showing the Nun trailer. They didn't sleep for 2 nights. I think they lost the game and everything. It was it was crazy.
That's funny.
Oh,
this shot.
This would have taken forever to clean up and reset.
Well, it was really cold, and they only had a couple buckets, and to do it with this actress, and it was on the scene. Like, again, I'll never forget it because it was a circular track, and she's supposed to rise as the camera's doing this, and I'm running around the camera. Mind you, I can't shoot anything. I'm just running because eventually the camera stops. And this is where I end up, and to get this shot, so I have to do the mile lap run of the dolly, and it's like me and the boom guy running over these steps and trying not to, screw up and fall on the camera and fall over each other. And I have to wait for the 5th rotation for it to stop, so I can get this shot. But it was worth it. I'm a big guy. I'm out of breath. I'm like, but it worked. So I can't complain.
Hey, now is this 10 to 15% Dutch tilt? Is that a style of? Is that an intentional style of yours?
A funny story was on Texas Chainsaw. I got a note from my then photo editor, who said, "What's with the Batman tilt?" And I said it's a horror film. I'm trying to give it a little more immediacy and make it more crazy, because it's like it shouldn't be dead straight. And that's the thing, is you want to give it a little more life, and by just a slight tilt, you do.
Yeah, you certainly do, and it's wonderful going through your images and seeing your thought pattern to your stills. Oh, this is the same scene, right? But
this was just the close up at this point.
Wow.
But it's just like just everything that's involved in everything, the bounces, it's again, it just tells you what's going into this movie, what's going into this scene, this shot. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, and again, it gives the audience, everyone sits there and watch the movie and don't realize the hard work that goes into it from every single crew member. And you see some crew members standing around, but the split second before action, they were all running around getting this all ready to go. And great shot.
And that operator, BJ McDonald, is one of the best in the business. Just literally, he helps you get in there, and he'll make room for you if he can. He's very accommodating, and ride or die with him. He's one of the best.
Yeah, he's look at the focus there in his eyes. It's amazing. On the wheels too. I could never do the wheels. I've tried them a few times. It's like
doing this. It's not easy.
I get all confused totally. Another great shot. So were you in the water for this, or was it
No, it was my very first. I'm not a scuba diver. I'm not a fan of the ocean. I went snorkeling on my honeymoon and I couldn't wait to get back on the boat. But this was like we were on a tank at Warner Brothers, and I was literally just in my water shoes and shorts and my board shorts and a shirt, and just kind of in the water. And once you were in the water, you really couldn't get out. So I was in there for probably 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
Which was great, because it's like, you're just in there with the actors talking. And this is one of my favorite shots, because there was a techno crane that was shooting everything.
Right.
Just right next to me. But I was, this was with my mirrorless camera, so I could get like water level.
Oh yeah.
And I was able to just really get in there. And again, it was one of my favorite shots. And it just says everything you need to see in a shot. Like, just tells you what's going on.
Have you ever gone through? I keep coming back to it. Your your percentage of your Dutch. It looks like 10 or 15%. Have you actually ever measured it up? Because it's consistent all the time.
It just depends on the shot. Like, I don't do it for everything, but when I do it, it's intentional. No, when I do it, it's because I want to bring something in, or a lot of times it's to avoid the boom. It's also in the shot, because I'm afraid, and I have this fear, which is like, if the boom is in there, no one's going to retouch it. They won't use it. Like,
yeah, I know, right?
And now I realize that, like, that's not the case. Like, they'll get rid of it if it's easy to get rid of. But like I said, it just adds more to the image. And like I said, it's not for everybody. It's not for every scene.
No.
But it definitely does. For its impact. You like when you watch a horror movie, you don't watch it. Everyone watches a horror movie like they're scared, so their head's already tilted because they're ready to hide.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, like, when you look at the photo, you're like, oh God, like, you're backing away from it. That's how I was, looking at stuff like that. You're always just like, oh, what's going to jump out at me? I don't want to.
Oh, I get, yeah. It really is. It certainly adds to the craziness. It takes you away from being normal. I really love this party style. Oh man, look at the reflection and everything in that. That is just, I mean, you must have shot this and just gone, holy crap.
Yeah, this was from a show called For All Mankind. That was about the landing on the moon, but it was like an alternate history of the landing on the moon. But when I got that shot, I was like jumping up and down. I was like, this is so cool. You just, I'm sure there are plenty of movies that have been about the moon, and you've seen the moon landing, but like, I just think that that's a very strong image.
It's a wonderful image, and also it's on days like that, sometimes with with helmets and glass, that we can be one of the first to get moved out of the way, and unless people are, the grips and electrics are compliant with giving us a poncho and stuff like that, and it could have been one of those ones where it was like, yeah, might be in reflection there, but well done pulling that off.
Yeah, no, and again, it's like, if I see something that's reflecting, if I can move it, I'll either ask it to be moved, or I'll move it if it doesn't mean, like, it's like, oh, that's not part of the scene. Can we move that? Okay. Yeah. It's reflecting, or if it's just like a PA standing off camera over here, it's like, can you not be there? I see you in the reflection.
Yeah, I'll do the same. And then I also use my phone. I'll turn on the torch and I'll just wave it in front of where my camera will be or my face will be, just to see if I can see reflection of that. And if I get called out, it's like, I'm not in it. You've got the answer already. So yeah, it's just the color and just everything about that image. This is the same film, right?
That's the same thing. That's actor Joel Kinnaman. And this was an interesting shot because they were shooting in an actual space module. So so there's literally nowhere to shoot in the front because the window's like this big. And I had to ask for a setup. And I said, I need a setup. But the only thing lighting him, as you can see in the helmet, is whatever is on the dashboard and like a little light of the top. Yeah. And I think I shot this at a 20th of a second at 6400 ISO and tack sharp, handheld. And I'm literally leaning with a wide angle lens as far back as I can to get that shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, literally against the glass. Because like I said, I couldn't be in there during the take, and I'm just literally leaning all the way back against the glass to try and get that shot. And it was like perfect. Nailed it.
This is one of the ones where we're doing a setup has really paid off, and he's given you everything too for it.
Yeah, he was great. He would always help me out. I mean, like this is the kind of show where like you're not going to get in everywhere. I'm climbing ladders, looking down into portholes, trying to shoot astronauts, and it just wasn't it's not going to be easy all the time. But this was a shot that I saw. Like I'm walking around the module going like, I got to get this shot. I want this shot. I want this shot.
Yeah.
Because they'd always take the helmets off too, because you can see him kind of getting fogged up by the mouth because it was really hot. Yeah. He's like, you're like, take the helmet off. I'm like, no, give me 10 seconds.
Yeah, and that's all you need. You get one frame. That's all you need. Oh, is this the actor before with the?
You know him. He played Orm in Aquaman.
Oh.
It's Patrick Wilson.
No way, that's Patrick.
Yeah, it's Patrick.
What a wonderful one! Oh yeah, of course. So it'd be James Wan film. What a wonderful performer he is, an artist. Oh my gosh,
he's great. And I think they used this for the key art of Annabelle Comes Home. But this was one light on a six. Like this was supposed to be like playback footage on a projector. So they were actually shooting it on a 16 millimeter camera with one light on him that would always be moving because the operator was like, it's an exorcism. So like he's supposed to be crazy. So I just had to wait till the light hits him perfectly. And there you go.
Oh, great shot. Oh,
just a good, again, like just
shot everywhere.
I would go into, what's cool about this shot, I'll show you, which is cool, is that they used it for a toy. So they put it on the front of the packaging, one of the other alternate angles.
Oh, just tilt it a little bit. Can you put it in front of the camera a little bit more and then just tilt it?
I can't really do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
But yeah, it's this is one of those things where like you want to take a shot for the set designer, the set builder, and the props and everybody just to show off the environment, but also like getting a cool shot of the hero of the movie.
I'm so stoked that you have all these collectibles and stuff. It's like it's really refreshing. That's the same set, right?
Same set, but this was one of those shots where we're doing a take and I see her walk, with her reflection in the glass, but the camera is right there, and I'm like, we got to get that shot. I'm like, can you stand there? And she walked right back and did it again, but again, like giving the same performance that she gave when she did it, not just standing there looking. You could tell that she's like acting.
I love how you use all this foreground reflections and stuff like that in your images. It's you really show someone who's really aware of what's going on around them and looking for those little bits and pieces that normal people like myself wouldn't see. It's very cool. Very cool.
It just adds to it,
it really does.
Enjoy what you do, guys, and just never take no for a first answer, and just keep pushing without being overly ridiculous. But have faith in yourself, and literally, just if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. No,
that's really that is just the truth. It's word, and it's been wonderful for me to look at your work, because I do look at everyone's on Insta and when it gets published and stuff like that, but I don't get to talk about them with the photographer and the artist and the storyteller, more of the point. So it's a big treat for me, and if I'm excited about it, I know that everyone out there that's come here to have a look at you have a chat will be very interested in it as well, and just your thought process, your the way that you go about your craft. It's no wonder that you're getting hired for all these amazing films. And all right, Jussie, I'm going to speak to you in a tick.
All right, thank you.
So there you go, team. That was Justin Lubin, and wow, some great images, great insight into what goes on up here in a photographer's mind. I thought I loved my job, but I think that he may well have taken that mantle away from me. So I'm going to be splitting this one into two parts, no doubt. So I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed Justin, and we're going to have him back on 5 Photo Folio. So have a great day. Don't forget, if you can subscribe, it'd be really cool. And if you ding on the old bell, it means that you'll get notified next time we've got another interview coming up. So thanks, team. Speak to you later. Bye.